Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to continue the travel in Kathmandu, Nepal. I already uploaded 2 videos some time ago, so if you haven't seen them, you can check them out. And today we're going to see 4 other places in Kathmandu. For me, those places felt really special in the city because one of them is a very famous Buddhistic place, the other one is a very important Hinduistic place, and the other 2 are connected to the Nepalese history and the politics. You can learn about some important events in the Nepalese history from there. Let's go! The most famous place to visit in Kathmandu is probably the Boudhanath. I hope I pronounced it correctly. It is a Buddhistic stupa which contains the relics and remains of a Buddha. Many people are not only coming here for sightseeing but also to pray. So you will see here a lot of tourists but also monks walking around the stupa clockwise, that's important, and also by praying and spinning the prayer wheels. The prayer wheels are contained in these small kind of windows all around the stupa. They are looking like this, and you have to spin them also clockwise while talking a prayer. And in between I found these small holes in the walls with miniature Buddha statues, which was pretty impressive. On the top of the building you can see these eyes which are drawn on every side of the building, which are basically meaning that the Buddha can see in all directions. Around the Boudhanath are many narrow streets with shops, restaurants, cafes, markets, temples, and everything that you can imagine. There are also art shops and everything. So you can just stroll around or enjoy the nice view from the top to the Boudhanath. This next place is, I think, the most important and significant Hindu temple called Pashupatinath. As a non-Hindu, you are not allowed to enter this temple, but you can watch the happenings from the other side of the banks of the river. The Bagmati River is considered to be holy. That's why there are also funerals taking place here, like right now. First, the feet of the deceased person will be washed and then they are cremated at the bank of the river. Some people are even coming here to die or to spend their last days here, considering the importance of the temple. For me, this place was, I think, the most impressive place to visit from the whole Nepal travel, because it's just such a huge difference from everything that I know culturally. In these temples you can easily also meet some animals, especially monkeys. There is even a monkey temple in Nepal, which I will show you in another video, but even here were a lot. It was pretty fine to observe them, and they were not very interested in humans, actually, they were just passing by. I was a bit shocked though when some cows passed by suddenly through this whole temple area, but it seems to be just the norm here. An interesting place to visit in the heart of Kathmandu is the Royal Palace, which you can find very close to the touristic Tamil area. This palace served as the primary residence of the country's monarch until 2008, when the monarchy was abolished in Nepal. Nowadays it's a museum where you can see the history, especially of the royal family and the royal massacre in 2001. So when you are visiting this royal palace, a special thing is that there is a lot of security there. You are not allowed to take your bag inside, you're not to take your phone inside, no cameras, you're not allowed to take any pictures, any videos from the inside of the palace or the gardens surrounding the palace, nothing. So when you are entering the palace area, you cannot take anything with you. And when you enter, you are also checked up by the security people working there, like at the airport, for example, like they're really checking your whole body if you have anything on you that you're not supposed to take inside. So that's why I am not really able to show you any pictures from the inside the palace. I can try to describe a bit. The palace is built in a modern style, as you can see. History-wise, the last king left this palace in the year of 2008, and I have to say, when you go through the palace, one thing is you can recognize that the family was very rich, and there are huge paintings of the royal family hanging there. You can see a whole, I think it was a tiger fur lying on the floor like a carpet when you enter the palace. But when you continue to walk further through the other rooms, you actually notice that it's a bit old stylish. So it's not something I was expected to see, considering that someone was living in the beginning of the 2000s there. So to me, it felt more like the style of maybe the 70s in there. That was one thing that I noticed. The other thing that I noticed was that the farther you continue through more like private rooms, or like where the guests were invited to, were like the big halls, sometimes the bigger halls where maybe some political talks were taking place, and so on and so on. So those rooms felt to me also a bit like there were things to see and decorations and those kind of things, but many of them were gone or taken away, or I have no idea. But it felt like there were many places where they should have been things standing there, but they were empty. So it felt to me like many things were missing in that palace. I don't know if the king took with him when he left, or I don't know what happened there. I'm not that deep into the history. If you know it, maybe write me in the comments, especially considering that there is such a huge security outside and even inside. When I went, I think it was when you go lower, really more to the private rooms, there is another security checking you once again and asking, do you have any phone on you? Do you have any camera on you? Like, I was already checked outside. They're checking inside the building once again later on. Considering the things that are in the palace, didn't quite understand why there is such a huge security there compared to other places and castles and palaces that I visited in other countries. Is it worth it to visit it? If you have a choice to visit here or another place and you're not sure where to go, I think I would rather visit another place. Although it was interesting to see the history of the royal family, I also think you don't really have to go into the palace to find out those things. You can just read about them, because it's really not shown that much information in the palace about what was happening. You can see many pictures also of the King Tribhuvan. So I think he was the grandfather or the great-grandfather of the last king. So he was, I think, very famous, because even the airport and the university has his name. So yeah, you can see many pictures of him meeting other presidents or kings. So yeah, if you are interested in those kind of things, it's definitely interesting to visit. If you just want to see some history of the royal family, you can definitely visit it. I think if I would have a choice, I think I would rather visit some other cultural or historical places. Close to the palace is the Garden of Dreams, which seemed to me like pretty iconic place in Kathmandu, since even graduate students were taking pictures here. There is also a poem or several poems by the Persian poet Omar Khayyam which are written here. And the decorations are really nice, all the details here. The garden itself is, by the way, made in an English garden style. And even in winter, some flowers are blooming here. Considering what is going on outside of the walls of this garden, this place is really very peaceful and calm. It was built, by the way, in the 1920s by a field marshal of the ruling Rana dynasty. From the 1950s until the 2000s, it was unfortunately neglected but restored afterwards. Outside of this garden, the field marshal also installed this Lakshmi goddess statue, which stands for wealth and abundance. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and there are still a few more places in Nepal that I want to show you. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye!